Welcome on board. Thank you for always tuning in on the Beauty of the Game official news channel. Yeah, we are always around to give you what is desired and what is likely prevailing in our motherland or in our continents, around the globe, around very many countries and others. So thank you so much. Today we are going to talk about most especially economics perspectives, the way things are moving on around the globe, and we see how we weigh in, how we panel beat here and there. We see what world leaders are trying to bring on table. As you know, I'm by the names of Muzei Nganda Chizito Musa, always around to take you through different topics and perspectives. On this very channel, we do economics, we do politics, we do sports, and we do health programs. So you'll always be getting in touch, or you'll always see different people on your screens talking about different subjects. Yesterday we had Mr. Ivan Wampla, who was mainly digesting and trying to break down issues in sports. But now we are going to talk about economics, and the main issue around the globe or around Africa is all about the remittances. America or USA as a country, when Mr. Donald J. Trump, the current president, was sworn in on 20th of January this very year, 2025, his main agenda with the Republican Party, where he belongs, it was to reclaim American greatness once again, whereby they were saying that America was losing control and grip over economies, was losing control over world trade markets and others. So today, the Republican Party, the House of Representatives at Capitol Hill, they have moved on to bring a bill which is concerning remittances. Remittances are the monies we send home to our loved ones, either to help them in school fees, to help them in their daily lives, to help them in the construction of houses. Mainly, you will see that most of the foreigners who have gone to America, who have gone to Canada and other countries, have come to use this money. Yes, Mr. Price Ahmed, hi. We have come to use this money, mainly the remittances or the money we send at home, to see that it can help our parents. Mr. Ahmed Crash, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So things have changed a bit ever since Mr. Trump took course. He has passed executive orders. He has tried to see that they can reclaim the economy back, or back like some days back. Mr. Trump, as he assumed the office, the first directive was to impose tariffs. They imposed tariffs on China, imposed tariffs on Canada, imposed tariffs on Mexico. So these tariffs have tried to bite also America back. They have had to bite America back. So the president and his cabinet are trying to see how can they get money to see that they can run the economy. You'll get to know that most of the Africans who get engaged or who are in countries like America, they send money home through World Remittance, through Western Union, through Sendwave, and other channels. So this time round, we are trying to see that the Americans mainly are focusing on the monies we are sending home. They want to tax them highly. That's one. They want to see that all people who are living in America, especially the foreigners, are taxed on that money to improve the infrastructure of the country of America. There has been a claim and a subject of debate whereby most Americans are saying the foreigners, especially Africans, are using their facilities, are using their infrastructure, but improvement on those infrastructure is not seen anywhere. So as we see that something, a new dish of this bill, of the 5% bill, is being cooked up, is being brought forward. Many migrants or many immigrants have started crying here and there because this money has been helping the loved ones. Maybe it is of a shallow mind to think that the Africans can be taxed. For example, you will see that most of the Africans are getting like $2,500, and it is not easy to find an African who is getting more than those dollars and above. So when you tax them, one, you tax them on income tax, you tax them on pay, you tax them on bills and others. Again, you are bringing a 5% tariff or a 5% tax on them. I think this is going to affect African life. This is going to affect African welfare, because right now they are taxed very many taxes, but again they are crying. They are heavily taxed and they are working so much. Then, as we move on, that this House of Representatives or the Republicans, as they are introducing this bill or this proposal, the 5% excess tax on remittances sent at home and the United States, like when you are within the United States also, for example, people, you are in Nigeria, you are in Uganda, you are in Kenya, Tanzania, your government imposes a tax on foreigners, like when they are sending money to their friends within your country, again they are going to tax them heavily because they are foreigners. All this is trying to sabotage the finances, the cost of living and the standard of living of the Africans in the US. This tax will be paid by a sender and is going to be collected quarterly by the US Treasury Department. Once you send this money, you, the sender, you are going to be charged. And at the end of the day, the US Treasury Department is always going to knock on your accounts to say that they get off their taxes and they leave you with your share. If signed into a law, it could spell finance strain for millions of immigrants, not only Africans. Particularly African countries which have been benefiting from these remittances. You talk of Kenya, you talk of you talk of Uganda, you talk of Nigeria, you talk of Ghana, you talk of Ethiopia, you talk of the Somalis, because what I know, there are very many Somalis in the US who are driving those big trucks and snow trucks. So once you charge them, it means that it is reducing on their cost of living, or it's affecting their cost of living. The standard of living is going to worsen, because as I speak, when you talk to those people in the US, they are saying that the standard of living is not good because they are getting low salaries, and you realize that the maintenance cost or these costs of paying bills, they are very high. You will see that if you are paying a person $2,500 a month, or if you get hourly $17, and at the end of the month you get $2,500, it means that those are around 12 million plus if you go to Ugandan money. Now, if you tax 5%, it means that you are getting almost a half of the money, and you are leaving them with less money, because once you pay this money again, you have to tax it here and there, and it goes on zeroing down to low incomes. So it's going to affect the Africans so much. As we want to unpack this spice legislative law, let's try to see, as the Congress is cooking this, what are they cooking? We want to see the proposal. In the proposal, remittance tax is the list from a legislative kitchen, smearing with policy aimed to immigration reform, national revenue generation, and economic nationalism. According to the draft, any individual, documented or not, who sends money abroad via licensed transformers or transmitters like Western Union, MoneyGram, PayPal, or bank wire transfers will be charged a 5% on total amount sent. This levy, the bill asserts, will compensate for the cost of the federal services and infrastructure used by the foreign nationals. Supporters of the bill urge that while immigrants and non-citizens benefit from the public amenities, their remittances attract wealth from USA economy without reciprocation. This is about fairness, said Republican Clay Hawson, one of the bill's sponsors. America must stop being an ATM for the world. The sponsors of this bill, the Republican Clay Hawson, is saying that very many Africans are in the US. They are paying less taxes and they are using the services of the nation on the expense of the nationalities, those Americans. For him, is proposing that when these people are getting this money and they want to send home or they want to send within America, they get this 5% from that money being sent, and this money can be used to improve on the infrastructure of the American citizens. For example, the roads, hospitals, the water projects, and others. He's saying, Mr. Austin, that most of the immigrants have made America an ATM machine. When they are sending their money home, for example, you are sending your money in Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, you have been charged less through World Remittance, through MoneyGram, through Western Union, through PayPal, and other applications. American legislators are saying, if they can increase on the taxation of this money can be used to finance the development of very many infrastructures, of which the infrastructures are also used by the Africans. And Africans have been using these infrastructures almost free of charge. This is what they're trying to say. And for Africans, they are saying that they have been paying taxes through income tax. They have been paying pay as you earn. They have been paying very many taxes. They have been paying the bills. It's like it's more of double taxation, and it goes to multiple taxation. On the little money they are earning, it's like the American government wants them to even not send money home, because if you are sending like $100 in Uganda, then you have been charged of recent, and you send something like 300,000 shillings. This time means that a person may be getting 200,000 shillings in Uganda. Almost half of the money, it is going to be consumed within the taxes. And this is too much money. This is going to affect very many people, of which they are earning less. Maybe they can petition so that they can increase on their salaries and wages, to see that they can move hand in hand with the taxes being imposed on them. And if that is not done, it means that Africans are going to again be affected in one way or another. Some critics are saying that charging someone rent for sending groceries to their grandmother is very bad, because this money we are sending home to our beloved ones, it's like looked at as if it is pocket change. For example, you have a person at home who is very sick in Africa. You will see that you are going to use MoneyGram, Western Union, and other applications to send money. In the same spirit, other people are looking at this money as like America wants to charge on groceries, transport. And if you do so, it means that people are not going to eat. It means that people are going to die of hunger, because most of the people in these countries where we are, after working, they send this money to look after their families in terms of rent for houses, in terms of school fees, in terms of medication and other basic needs, in terms of food. And once you impose these taxes on them, it means that you are affecting them in the short and long run. You are affecting the cost of living of their people, and you are affecting the standard of living at the same time. So people are saying the Republican government of Mr. Donald J. Trump, through the House of Representatives, have to look into this, because it is not only like sending money, it comes with very many problems. It comes with very many nitty-gritties. Now, as we unpack this, you'll see that the numbers, why is the 5% a big deal? Why is it that people have started crying out? People have started complaining that the Republican Party, as it is bringing this bill, being sponsored by Mr. Housen, they should look into the 1%, just not as a small figure, but they should look into this as a very big figure, which is going to affect the standard of living and the cost of living of the people. For example, a casual 5% might not sound like it's too much until you multiply it by billions. As we go with the World Bank records of 2022 data, remittances from US totaled to over 74.6 billion US dollars, making America the top source of global remittance flows. African countries especially are the major beneficiaries. For example, Nigeria, it has been charged remittances of 20.1 billion US dollars through its citizens sending money to Nigeria. Go to Ghana. Ghana, the total remittances being charged on its citizens in America, it is 4.7 billion US dollars annually, according to World Bank data of 2022. Go to Kenya. Kenya, most of the citizens living in US, the remittances being charged on them in total by 2022, it was 4.1 billion US dollars. You go to Senegal. Senegal, it is 2.7 billion US dollars. Ethiopia, it is 2.1 billion US dollars. It means that America has been accruing too much of the remittances from the foreigners. So increasing the 5% on the people, it means that you are going to affect them so much. You have been reaping big, but again you want to reap bigger and bigger. You are charging on the groceries, of which it means that you want to stop people from feeding themselves. You want to stop the African poor people from going to school. Because most of our brothers and sisters who are living in these countries, they are sending money home to cater for the basic needs that I broke down, like school fees, food, rent, and other things. Once you impose the 5% on them, it is going to be another music, because they have been going through the hardships. As like they say, please wait, I get this money, I send it at the end of the month, I send it in like 2 months so that I can reduce on the charges. Then this time if you increase this, it means that the multiplier effect is going to be high. A 5% tax just on Nigerian remittances alone would extract over 1 billion annually. 1 billion in America, according to World Bank report or data of 2022. For a nurse in Boston sending $300 a month to her mother in Kumasi, that is Ghana, the new tax would skim off $15 monthly to $180 a year. And this is almost equivalent to a mother's rent in some of the African cities or some of the African countries. Like you are a nurse, you are sending someone like a $300 to your mom or to your brother to meet the basic needs. You will see that this is going to affect the people so much. How? When you are sending that money, it means that 15% monthly is going to go off. And when it goes to annually, it is going to be like $180. $180. It is too much money on the African person. Because, for example, in Uganda, a dollar is at like 3,600 Ugandan shillings. So, it means that $100, it's like 360,000 Ugandan shillings. If you impose a tax on that, when you are sending through Western Union and SendWave, any other things like MoneyGram, it means that a person at home is going to receive something like $300, 300 Ugandan shillings. From 360 to 300. Again, when you impose another tax, this person, it means, is going to get something like 200 Ugandan shillings. You have slashed almost all the money sent, and you leave them with less. That's why I say it's going to it's going to like impact on the cost of living of the people. And it's like an outcry to Mr. Hussein that please, as you want to, or as a mover, as you want to fund this bill, you have to look into those integrities of how the Africans are going to be affected than only looking at the American person, whereby you are already charging these immigrants too much money. I think it is not like in good spirit to continue charging the brothers and sisters all that money. It is going to be a very big effect on the cost of living of our brothers and sisters, of our people, and very many people are going to live to cry in the way this tax is going to affect them. When you go to something like a human right angle, we try to look into this. I mean, into a human angle. We have the aunties, we have the school fees, we have the soap money. Those are basic needs in Africa. Now, when you look into that, it means that remittances are the unsung heroes of the global development. They pay for school uniforms in Nairobi, they pay for medication in Kampala, they pay for like medication on the shelves of Accra, that is Ghana. They pay for very many things, and they keep lights on in very many rural areas. For example, you send money home, they have to pay for electricity, they have to buy solar. All of this money has been helping the poor person in the villages and the remote areas of African countries. And once you impose this 5% tax on them, it means that the money being reduced is going to be also cut short. And once it's cut short, it means that these basic needs are going to also be cut short. And in the long run, either it is going to affect the education sector or the education programs of our brothers and sisters. It is going to affect the medication services. It is going to affect very many things which an African person has been receiving. Speaking to Dr. Amina Sefu, for him he has an argument that the transfer of this money to African countries as foreigners is not for luxury, as some of the Republican legislators want to put it. It's not for luxury. Once we are sending this money, as Mr. Sif or Dr. Sif Amna puts it, this money majorly, as an economist, is seeing it as a money used to help Africans, a money used to feed Africans. It is a survival remittances. That's why that time I termed it as a grocery remittance. These monies are very petty monies, are very small monies, whereby when you look at them, they are just helping the African kid, the African person, to just remain in the survivorship curve. And once it is whipped out, the survival for the fittest theory, it is going to wilt out. The proposal of this tax is not just financially harmful. It is morally questionable that if you are going to charge on the remittances, which remittances are like improving on people's well-being in Africa, morally, are you morally right to do so? Yet you are saying you are sending aid to help African people. Instead of sending aid, why don't you even just cut on the remittances being charged on this, the taxes being charged on these people when they are sending money home? You create a conducive environment for these people to work, and after working, you deduct some small money, then they send the money home to build their lives, because they are not going to live all that longer in these foreign countries. They have to go back home as they grow up. So, in humanity, we have to look into that this money is a survival money. And once the sponsor of this bill, Mr. Hossein, and other legislators don't look into this, it means that the spirit of humanity has died out. Because recently, America has just withdrawn its foreign aid, that is US aid. This money has been helping in hospitals to equip them with medicines, especially in terms of medicine for AIDS affected people, HIV. But now, many countries, people have to have that money to buy that medicine, to buy ARVs. And to buy this, it means that each African country, African family, it has to be with that person basing in the American continent, basing in Europe, basing in Schengen, so that they can easily send them those remittances to meet these medical bills. Once you sabotage them through charging them this big tax, it means that the death rates are going to rise. Already they have been dying when we are sending them money, but now the problem is going to escalate. Once we are considering this moral question, many immigrants already pay income tax. Many immigrants already pay income tax. They pay state tax. They pay sales tax and processing fees to money transfer companies. This new charge will eventually and would essentially tax their generosity. A cause of that, some diaspora leaders wondering whether kindness, and me, I'm wondering whether kindness is now a taxable asset. Yes, you want to give some foreign aid to African countries, but at the same time, there are people who are working in your countries, you are overcharging them. It means that you are affecting their cost of living and standard of living in the short and long run. It means that you are discouraging them to work and you are trying to send them home, because at the end of the day, the paycheck is going to come when it is almost zero. As you charge this state tax, you charge the income tax, you charge the sales tax, and the processing tax as I'm sending the money, it is over taxation. It is beyond taxation. And as if it's not enough, you are proposing a bill of the 5% increment on the variable taxes. Don't you see that you are affecting the African man in both short and long run? Is it all about humanity? Have we resorted that taxes are looked at as a moral asset of humanity? I don't think that with Mr. Transport's administration, this will be a solution. Instead, it's going to be an effect which is going to zero down negatively on these African immigrants. Now, when you look at this issue, it's like a federal matter. From Community Act to cash grab. Let's talk about Turkey, or rather a treasury. The bill signals a large federal shift towards treating remittances as economic outflows to be regulated and tapped, not just begin family support. While remittances have always existed in a semi-private private realm of personal finance. This bill places them squarely in the sights of federal revenue collectors. As you are looking at this bill of the 5% increment on taxation on remittances, it's like the treasuries of the federal states are going to consider this as economic outflows. They are going to charge people. For example, a person comes from any other foreign country, he goes to invest in America. After investment, as he is taking out his profits, there is a way the government charges him or her. Now, is it like the federal governments are going to charge these remittances as capital outflows, as profits? Should we say that? Is it that the federal governments of USA are going to charge this family support as capital outflows or as money in terms of profits from a business person? All that has to be checked before the lower parliament at the Capitol Hill looks into this. You know, because they're saying at the end of the month they're going to collect this money. It means that every month you're going to pay 15%. I mean $15 when you are sending. It means that at the end of the year you are paying 180 US dollars in terms of remittances. Now, again, when you examine this bill, it's like the legislators are not looking on the other side of the coin, that you are sending this money to your mother in Abuja, in Kampala, in Kumasi, in Nairobi, in Addis Ababa. They are not looking to that. For them, they are looking at the Treasury Department of the US. How can they increase when the money is collected to improve the welfare of the Americans? They have not looked at the other side of the coin, that this money is for family support. They haven't looked into that. And if we resort to be real, this isn't just about money. It's about politics. It's about politics. The 2025 project, which was announced by the Republican Party as they're looking for votes during 2024. You go on this theme of Make America Great Again. They have all this into their document of 2025 project. And when you look into that Mr. Trump's administration has long argued that migrant cost the federal government money in form of public services. This is an argument from Mr. Trump, that whenever migrants are living in US, they are costing the American federal states a lot of money in terms of infrastructure, in terms of medication and other things. But he's not considering the very many taxes these immigrants are paying. They are paying very many taxes. And once you don't consider that, it means that you have just looked at this issue with a blind eye. Instead, you have to get an economist to dig into this in detail for you to get to know the negative and the positive effect of this. You know, when you talk of infrastructure use, people are paying for service taxes, are paying the income taxes, are paying the sales taxes. And these taxes have been used to develop infrastructure in the US and other parts of the world. So when you bring the 5% tax, it means that the issue is more of political than economical. You want to just solicit money from these people to meet your political goal as you raised it in your manifesto. And this has not to go like being unchecked, because it's all about life and death. It's a matter of life and death. You fail to raise the money of paying medical bills for your mom, for your sisters, and for your friends in Africa. It means that in the following day, they have to dig a grave. That's why I say that the Republican Party and Mr. Trump's administration have to reconsider this. And once failure comes up and there is no reconsideration, it means that this negative effect is going to trickle down to a common man, to an African mother who has been always waiting for that remittance to pay rent, to pay school fees for the grandchildren. And it means that the education of most of the African children is going to be affected, because you cannot send those small monies. You know, by targeting these remittances, the lawmakers are like effectively tapping into multi-million dollars informal economy, and that's hard to control but easy to monetize. All this has to be looked into, because if they fail to look into this, you will see that most of the immigrants, especially Africans, are going to face it rough. They are almost going to be working for free of charge. You work, at the end of the day, the pay slip or the paycheck comes when you have just monies for paying your bills in the US. And if we are thinking, or if the lawmakers of the US are thinking, they have to think of this as patriotism when it is meeting people. They have to look at this as patriotism when it is meeting people. Like when I'm sending money, I'm just feeling too much touched that my families and friends in Africa, they don't have what to eat, they don't have medication. I have to send this money to help them. It's like more of friendly, it's like more of moral and human. You know? And some people, when they are analyzing this, they see this bill as symbolic gesture ahead of the election cycle. For example, America, after 2 years, they have to elect senators. They have to elect representatives whose term remained running on from the previous elections. So when you look into this, it's like a campaigning tool which is going to be used by the Republican Party to gain more support. Because for them, when they are looking at this, they are like saying America first. They don't consider anybody in that bracket. But not forgetting some immigrants are working so much to see that also America develops. So why all this treatment? You know? This is like a political message. This is like a political tool which is going to be used by most senators and congressmen against the will of the immigrants, because they know those people from the far right or from the far left will be looking at this as a campaigning tool. You know, some people are extremists will see that this is going to help Americans, and in the short run or long run, the Republicans are going to get elections through, votes through this. That's why I said that it's more of a political issue than an economic issue. Speaking with Mr. Marcus Franel, a political scientist and a professor at Georgetown University, for me, he had this to say. It's about control, about redefining the boundaries between private family finance and national interest. As America and its friends are trying to reclaim these countries as their colonies, they are trying to make sure that they frustrate every conduit and channels whereby this money was passing to go and help the poor man in US, in Africa. So to control all this, make sure you frustrate the person sending this money. And when you frustrate him, it means at home, people are going to remain hungry, are going to remain suffering with basic needs. And in so doing, it means that the Republican government can easily get in touch with the African presidents who are acting as like CEOs. Then they can easily sell off the heads of their netizens in terms of projects. When America withdrew the US aid, it's not complete. It is going to come back into another version. Just wait. It's going to come back with another version of aid. And this aid, it's going to be more of the benefit to Americans. And it's going to be more of benefit to African leaders. Because for them, they want to cling on power. They're not going to look into the details of helping the poor person to meet his or her basic needs. So it's going to be a deal between these leaders and at the end of the day, an African person is going to suffer locally. You know? Because these remittances have been helping in private family financing. So it is a matter of private family financing and a matter of national interest. America has resorted to national interest than the private financing, of which the private financing to these families, they have been getting peanuts of these monies. You know? All this, when you look at it, it comes back to affect the common man in Africa. Still, Symbolism comes with consequences. You know, the advocacy groups are very busy warning of this inevitable shift to informal irregulated transfer methods like Hawar systems or carrying cash in luggage, ironically increasing financial secrecy and security risks. Some advocacies or people who are talking on behalf of the people, they are saying that once American government or Mr. Trump's administration does this and they impose this 5% tax on remittances, it means that people living in the diaspora are going to always collect their monies, they pack them in luggages, they come back with that money in Africa, then transferring them through electric methods. They have called it the Hawal method. You collect all your money in the years you have worked, you put it in the luggage. For example, a leather bag, very big, like you are packing clothes. Then you pass through the airports with all this money. And this rudimentary method of transporting money, it has been like abolished for some good time. But it's like Mr. Trump's administration is sending us back to that rudimentary transfer of money. You know? And when people resort to this, it is going to be a security risk. You will see that dangerous people, terrorists, are going to invade people on airports, are going to invade people on aircrafts, because once the bag is scanned, it is very easy for these other people working on the airport to easily communicate with thugs. And you will see that you're going to cause much chaos on airports. People are going to be killed on airports because they know that this particular person is moving with money in this luggage, and they want to use this money in their mode of operation, like in terrorism attacks. They want to purchase ammunition, and they know that somebody is having this money. All this should not go unchecked by the Congress, Parliament at Capitol Hill. It has to be looked into. It is more of a security threat and risk. You know? Because if it goes like that, it means that people are going to die bullets. As the diaspora response, because I have been seeing people responding about this topic, it's about humor, anger, and resistance. People are resisting about this issue. People are angry of this new policy or of this new bill. You know, when you go at various WhatsApp groups and TikTok accounts or TikTok threads, you will see that African communities are already mocking the proposed law bill with a dictator flair. There is a dictator war on X, on WhatsApp groups, on TikTok, which is taking center stage. People are like saying the administration has not checked this policy and it has not given it attention it deserves. And shouldn't go unchecked. And this has been a global topic on X. You know? And people have created some memes and jokes that They are saying, we have been calling our friends and parents at home using Botim, using WhatsApp, video calling, using other applications to call at home. So they have brought up those memes and jokes that next it will be tax for video calling your cousin. It will be tax of voice notes to your relatives. And one of the people on those handles had to post that for him, I already pay emotional tax when I forget my auntie's birthday. That because we are living in these countries and we suffer being homesick, only that, it torments people. It affects people's brains psychologically. And you are increasing on the psychological effect which is affecting people by increasing these taxes. Already they have the tax of homesickness. They have other taxes which are lawful. And you bring this, it means that you are looking at a political issue than a matter of national importance. And other people are less amused. Very many activists around the world and in the US, even on the social media platforms like X, they are running behind to oppose this bill, because this bill is more of a green snake in green grass. It's like a more of a direct attack on the working class immigrants. It's like a more of a racist tax. Very many racist taxes were imposed on people in South Africa. So it's like Trump's administration is bringing back this tax in the form of racism. And when you look and go around, people outside the petitioning are going around. And as you go around, you will see that town halls are going to fill up, like people are going to fight this bill in Texas, everywhere. They are planning this. And what I should say, also diaspora teams like a UNA, they have not to just sit. They have to organize their legal teams to go into federal courts to fight this bill. Because once the bill is passed, it is going to affect its subjects. And once this bill passes, it's going to be called, like I can term it as a tax on love. The other time I termed it as a tax on groceries. But this time it's a tax on love, because your younger brother or sister or mom is dying of sickness, dying of hunger. It's like you are getting it from your heart, the bottom of your heart, to send this money to help your relatives. That's why I want to term it as tax on love. So, for me, my issue is I'm still calling upon the American government administration to try to save into this bill, because it's no of great importance on African income. When you are trying to conclude this issue, it's going to be the just precedent or just another proposal. It's a question. Is it going to be a dangerous precedent or just another proposal? You know? Because whether this bill becomes a law or fizzles out like many before, one thing is clear. Conversation around remittances is no longer just economic. It is political. And it's deeply ethical and a personal issue. You know? We should get this, that whenever governments start tapping into the coins people send to their sick uncles, struggling cousins, friends, it raises big questions. And one of the questions is going to raise, who really owns your paycheck? Who owns your paycheck? That's the first question. Question number 2, how far should patriotism reach into your purse? Question number 3, and if love is now taxable, what's next? An import duty on hugs? Like if I want to hug my mom when I'm in America, are they going to tax me that import duty on transferring my hug to my mom? You know? Very many already ladies around the world, especially in Africa. I was speaking to my mom, and when I told her about this proposal, she had this to say. She asked me, so now, when you help me as my son, America helps itself too? And she was like saying, that is a thunderfire bill. You know? It is a thunderfire bill. So this bill has raised very many eyeballs. The 5% remittance bill, which is being moved on taxing the diaspora money transfers, and it's going to be a very big blow on the African people. I would like to stop here. We can continue this conversation in the comments. We can continue this conversation on different platforms to raise this alarm to Mr. Trump's administration to look into this as a very serious issue affecting the cost of living, the standard of living, and the incomes of the Africans, to be specific. Because I had to break down, you have been collecting a lot of money from remittances according to World Bank reports. And why the 5% tax now on remittances? If you are saying that we are using we are using American infrastructure like roads and others, but you are charging us other things like the sales tax, the income tax, and very many things. Isn't that enough? Are you not tapping into a tax of love, a tax on hugs, a tax on WhatsApp and video calls. I would like to get out of the chair, and I will just say that the buck stops with you. Try to revise this. Yes, Mr. Hausen wants to pass this, but think of the other child deep in the villages, in the remote areas. As you have just withdrawn this US aid, people are busy struggling and starving to meet the daily costs in Africa. As we are struggling and striving to see that you want to make a great again, I want to appeal to you. Try to drop this bill to still make African families live not to starve, but to be alive, to prepare for their futures, to make sure that they pay school fees for their children and grandchildren, to make sure that they meet the medical bills of their loved ones. Once you meet that, it is going to be of a moral concept than a political question. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Have a good night for people in Africa. Have a blessed day for people in the diaspora. God bless you.